Welcome to VGK Today, presented by MGM Rewards, a daily podcast bringing you an inside look at the Vegas Golden Knights' 2023 Stanley Cup playoff run. I'm Justin Russo with the Golden Knights on Monday, May 8th, and today the VGK are in Edmonton as they prepare for Game 3 against the Oilers tonight at 5:30 Pacific Time. Vegas is coming off of a 5-1 loss in Game 2, in which the Oilers really took control and scored early and often to grab the victory on the road. And now it's the Knights' turn to become the road warriors, and for Vegas, that's a spot they're pretty comfortable being in. This regular season, the VGK were 26-7-8 on the road with a .732 points percentage, and so far in the postseason, they're perfect away from the Fortress, having won both games in Winnipeg back in the first round. Now, it certainly won't be easy for Vegas, but they're as well equipped as any team to handle a hostile environment like Edmonton, and one of the reasons that they're so calm in the face of adversity is because of their veteran leadership. Guys who have seen and done just about everything in the postseason who can prepare the rest of the group for the road ahead. And today, Ashali Vise caught up with one of those veteran leaders in Alec Martinez as the Knights get ready for Game 3.
Well, Justin, the Golden Knights waking up in Edmonton, Alberta on this brand new, fresh start of a game day. And the bottom line is, it doesn't matter if they dropped Game 2 by a score of 5-1 or if it would have been a close 3-2 affair. Either way, it's a tied-up series, and the Golden Knights have a chance to take back that series lead here tonight. And you could tell from Darren's podcast yesterday that the biggest point of emphasis has to be just turning the page. And in order to do that, they lean on their veteran players, one of which is two-time Stanley Cup champion Alec Martinez. And when we checked into the hotel yesterday, we caught up not only to talk about the path forward for the Golden Knights, but also quickly reflect back on his first postseason as a member of the VGK. It was right here in Edmonton. It was unconventional, to say the least, and it was the bubble back in 2020. Alec, first, I'm curious, as you look ahead to 4 nights here at the JW Marriott in Edmonton, does this feel like just another road trip, or does this bring back memories of 2020 and being here for about 2 months?
Yeah, it kind of feels like my second home, actually. It was kind of weird. I walked into the room today, and I don't know if it's the same room. You'd think that I'd remember I'd spent so much time here, but it's the same configuration. So certainly brought back memories, but it was nice coming in here without pictures of my family and things like that, the little things that they tried to do to make it feel like home, because, we were obviously going to be here for an extended period of time. But yeah, I mean, I guess it gives you a little bit of flashback, but, nice knowing that, I guess you never know what could happen, but I imagine that we're probably not going to spend another 60 days in this hotel.
Yeah, hopefully something would go very wrong if that was the case. Just one of the many experiences you've had as a veteran in this league. And as one of the veteran players, I'm curious kind of the journey of your thought process from the time the final horn sounds in a Game 2 like you had to when the puck drops on Game 3.
Well, I think that the easy thing to do is have a sense of panic. Maybe not panic, but just I think that you got to look at it for what it is. There's going to be highs and lows throughout the playoffs, throughout a game, throughout a series. I think that there's obviously, a lot of things that we can learn from, and a lot of things that we have to do better. And one specifically is just our compete level. So while I look at it objectively, I'm not going to get too worked up over it. It's one game. That's why you play 7. And, I talked to a couple of guys, and it's, I don't think either team came into this series thinking that, they were going to get a sweep. This is just not, it's just not in the cards when you have 2 teams of this caliber, and you have to expect that, there's going to be ups and downs in a series. There's going to be bounces that go your way. There's going to be bounces that go their way, and you just got to maintain somewhat of an even keel and look at things constructively and figure out, it's, a playoff series is much like a chess match too. They're going to make adjustments, we're going to make adjustments, and it's a constant back and forth. So, obviously we're not happy with the result, but at the same time, you can't dwell on it too much. The good thing is we have another opportunity tomorrow night.
Well, you mentioned being even keel. A phrase we've heard throughout the regular season is that this team is better once it gets drug into the fight. Did you feel like some of the things that happened last game were enough to have you in the fight to start Game 3?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look at any playoff series, I think that they gradually get more emotional, and there's animosity grows. There's certain things that happen when you just inherently play a team possibly 7 times in a row that, things are going to get a little testier. There's going to be more emotion involved. There's going to be, we saw a lot of fights last night. There's going to be heavy hitting. There's going to be all that. So I think that you've seen it all year. I think when we've been in situations like this, we've rise to the occasion. And, at the same time, we're going into their building. It's a tough place to play. They're going to come out and, bring their A game too. But that's the beauty of the playoffs and a playoff series against, 2 teams of our caliber. And, I said it time and time and again, I'm very confident with the guys that we have in this room and strongly believe that we're going to come out in game 3 and, play our best game.
You mentioned coming into a tough building. Why do you think it is that this group has so much success in these situations?
I don't know. I think that there's a lot of different things involved. I think there's, we have a group of guys that a lot of them have been through it before. I think we got a lot of guys who care. There's a lot of character on this team. There's guys that, there's the hunger to win. And I also think that guys are committed to, playing the right way and playing our game. I think, one of the hardest things to do, in this game is if, things aren't quite going your way, it's hard to stay patient in your game plan. But, it's only human nature to, want to try to change things or try to do more. And, while there is room for changing things in adjusting game plans and X's and O's and things like that, your identity and the way that we play has been well established. We're not going to change the way that we play. So I think it's patience in that. And I think that the guys have done a good job, when faced with adversity this year. You look back at that New York trip where I think that was kind of a turning point right before the All-Star break that, I thought a lot of those games we played well enough to win and we didn't, but sometimes that's what you need. And we were able to, bounce back when we came back from that break. And I don't know the exact numbers, but I would say that, our record was probably in terms of, whatever, a 20-game stretch is probably up there with the best 20-game stretch that we had all year. So, we've felt, adversity before, and it's much like game 1 of the playoffs when we, dropped the first game to Winnipeg. It's a similar feeling. You gotta trust your own game, and in a building like this, you're gonna have to come in and try to dictate the pace of play and establish your game because they certainly are too.
Good luck, Alec. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that was the always thoughtful Alec Martinez, and you listen to him and it makes you just want to take a deep breath and remember this is a tied-up series. I certainly hope that's the effect it had on you listeners. I'm confident it's the effect that it has on the Vegas Golden Knights dressing room as they will continue to lean on him as the series goes on. Now, as far as where he slots in Game 3, as of yesterday morning, it didn't sound like Bruce Cassidy is predicting many major lineup changes, if any. We'll have answers on that after morning skate here in just a few hours. For those updates, you can tune in to Nighttime at Noon. That is at, you guessed it, noon Pacific on Fox Sports Las Vegas. And you can also watch on all of your VGK digital channels. So be sure to tune in for any and all updates we have as this morning goes on. And with that, Justin, I will send it back to you.
Well, a nice chat there, Ashley, with Alec Martinez. And I think just as you said, he brings that exact calming energy that everyone needs at this point in time. And like he said as well, no one on either side expected a sweep for either team in this series. And at some point, Edmonton was going to be able to get things going, and they did so in Game 2 with that 5-1 win, able to punch back after their Game 1 loss. And for Edmonton, this is a very good hockey team. This is a high-flying offense. Even in Game 1, when they lost 6-4, you hear that number, 4, they put up that many goals on the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas just had a good offensive output, and they got to their game a little bit more in Game 1. But you knew Edmonton was going to come back at some point. They did in Game 2, and now for the VGK, it's about how they respond. And I look at what Mark Stone said after Game 2, and he was referencing the comments that Leon Draisaitl made after Game 1, in which Draisaitl said, hey, Vegas really didn't do anything special in Game 1. We just weren't ourselves. We didn't play our best game, and we're going to be better in Game 2. And you know what? The Oilers and Draisaitl certainly with 2 goals in Game 2, they were better in that game, and they got the win against the Vegas Golden Knights. And then you look at what Mark Stone said after Game 2. He said, hey, just like Leon said after the first game, we weren't as good as we should have been tonight, and we have to be better moving into Game 3. So I think for the Golden Knights, doing what they did after Game 1 against Winnipeg, recognizing that, hey, that was not our best effort. we know we can beat these guys. We have to play better. We know how to play better. We just have to go out and execute now. And I think the Golden Knights recognize that. They're remaining calm. You heard Alec Martinez there saying, look, things are going to go up and down in the playoffs. You just have to remain even-keeled. And the Golden Knights know that they are still tied in this series. They're not down 2-0. They're not in a hole by any means. Yeah, they lost that home ice advantage, but for a team in Vegas that was so good on the road in the regular season and so far in the postseason, they have a great chance to go into Edmonton and steal that home ice advantage right back and take a series lead yet again. So for the Golden Knights, they're confident moving into the game. I think everyone can have confidence moving in based on what they said after the game and Alec's comments that you just heard a few moments ago. So for the Golden Knights, using that confidence, using that veteran leadership and the experience that they have up and down this roster to hopefully go into Edmonton and grab a victory in Game 3 tonight at 5:30 Pacific time. And though the Golden Knights are on the road tonight and Wednesday, they will be back at the Fortress on Friday for Game 5 of the second round against the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, we hope for the best case for the Golden Knights that they have a 3-1 lead coming back into Game 5, just as they did in the first round against Winnipeg. But either way, we know that Game 5 will be on Friday back at the Fortress. So go on to VegasGoldenKnights.com to get tickets for Game 5 to cheer on the Knights live at T-Mobile Arena. Again, go to VegasGoldenKnights.com for tickets to Game 5. I'll also take a second to remind you to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a moment of the team's quest for the Stanley Cup right here on VGK Today. Tomorrow, Dave Gosher joins the show for a post-game reaction to Game 3 between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers from Edmonton. Justin Russo signing off for episode 22 of VGK Today, presented by MGM Rewards.